Welcome everybody into the first Lantern TV preview show of the Ohio State football 2022-2023 season. It's that time of the year, it's the spring game, and while some, including Juan Reyes, who's the director of creative media at Ohio State football, call it a, quote, glorified scrimmage, it's Ohio State football in the shoe. It's a reason for us to do a pregame show. It's a reason for people to get excited. So let's get into it. Myself, Kevin Lapka, alongside Casey Smith, as usual, and now Gabe Burggraf, assistant Lantern TV sports producer, coming in. Happy to have you with us. And let's start with you, Gabe, talking about receivers. We know what they did in the Rose Bowl without Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson. What do you expect from them this Saturday at noon at the Shoe?
Well, it all starts with Jackson Smith-Njigba. 347 yards in the Rose Bowl. I'm interested to see what Marvin Harrison Jr. and Emeka Egbuka can provide alongside that. You've got Egbuka, who's more of a speed guy. Harrison can go up and get it, which Casey will touch on in a little bit. But Julian Fleming also has a chance to be that fourth guy, really go as the wheel turns with Ohio State. They might focus more on Njigba and Harrison after Olave and Wilson left. So you got to fill in the role and be the piece that can step up. And I think Fleming can do that this year for the Buckeyes.
Yeah, for sure. You mentioned Marvin Harrison Jr. Me and Kevin, we were doing our preview show right there on the corner outside of our hotel. We had Pasadena on the sign in the background. You asked me who, aside from Jackson Smith-Njigba, is going to be the wide receiver that steps up and fill the shoes of Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson as they sat out of the Rose Bowl. I said Marvin Harrison Jr. He went out and backed me up, make me look like a genius. So thank you to Marvin Harrison Jr. for that. I always like to pat myself on the back, make myself feel smart. He went out and had 3 touchdowns, a great game. Really his showing out party. Earlier in the year, all he really had was Kyle McCord, his high school teammate, to really link up with in sort of garbage time situations when Ohio State was really just beating the brakes off their opponent. Indiana comes to mind. But now he's moved into the wide receiver 2 role, and Brian Hartline does a great job with that room, not only with recruiting, but really keeping the formula simple. He had on a whiteboard earlier today, get open and catch the ball.
It's easy. Playing wide receiver is an easy position.
Exactly.
Get open, catch the ball.
If it were that easy, I'd be doing it. But I mean, that's why I'm here at the table. I'm not as athletic as Ohio State's wide receivers. Brian Hartline does a great job of that room, and I'm expecting big things. Going to be a great rapport, and we're going to see that firsthand this Saturday.
And I feel often in these sorts of, scrimmage games, everyone's there to watch CJ Stroud and the offense. But let's not forget about the defense, right? There's 2 sides, and the defense, as we know, last year, especially with this team, is equally as important as the offense and production that they'll put on the field in 2022, 2023. So let's talk about that defense a little bit with Jim Knowles coming in. We're going to see that first glimpse of how that defense is going to operate on Saturday. And there have been rumors that tackling will be an integral part of the scrimmage on Saturday, which in the past has not been something that they have done, but given the issues that they had last year on the tackling side of things, I think they're going to give it a go on Saturday. Who knows how long that lasts? Hopefully no one gets injured. But as of right now, the rumors are that we will see some tackling. So that, a little bit of pizzazz for the fans. We're going to see some hard hits. But a glimpse of that Jim Knowles defense. Let's start with you, Casey. What do you expect? Do you expect to see anything? Is he not going to show his hand? Are you excited to see what Jim Knowles is going to bring to the table on Saturday?
Everything coming out of Ohio State says they're going to keep it a very simple, very basic defense on Saturday. They don't want to give away too much. You talked about the tackling, and there's one play that keeps replaying in my mind. It was a 4th and 2 for Cameron Rising, Utah's quarterback in the Rose Bowl. He breaks off 4 or 5 tackles, spinning, just shucking defenders, and he goes all the way to the house to really put the lid on Utah's first half and give them a 14-point lead. And everybody in Scarlet and Gray, they were really doubting whether Ohio State was going to come back. Obviously they do. But the defense, as you mentioned, was very suspect last year. They give up 5 rushing touchdowns to Hassan Haskins, and they lose to Michigan for the first time since 2011. Jim Knowles comes in after piloting a top 10 defense out there at Oklahoma State, being able to really stop the run. And when we were talking with him earlier this year, he was really hands-on in how he wants his guys to kind of lean and tackle from the side and tackle at angles. Mm-hmm. And he's been called a mad scientist, and I think come that first game against Notre Dame, you're really going to see that scheme and that jack position, formerly known as the Leo at Oklahoma State. You're going to see the jack position, which kind of just roams around the defensive line. They can go down, stick their hand in the dirt, they can stand up. It's a very hybrid type position. You're going to see that first game against Notre Dame, and I think Jack Sawyer and Mitchell Milton are 2 guys in Ohio State's spring camp that have really emerged as potential candidates for that position. But I think that we're going to get a very base glimpse of that defense this Saturday, and it'll be interesting to see because it's not scarlet versus gray, it's offense versus defense. So we're going to see the ones against the ones, and I think that'll be a really fun matchup to watch.
What do you expect from the defense on Saturday?
Going off that, hitting the right hole, and not overcommitting in the run game is something that Ohio State needs to fix. A lot of times, guys just getting clean runways straight to the end zone. They've got to fix that, and Knowles is a pretty good bet to do that. So he might not show his hand Saturday, but Buckeyes looking to improve on defense and stop the run, like Casey said, is a must in a Big Ten that Wisconsin, Michigan State, they're known for doing that all the time. You've got to be able to stop the run because it affects the pass.
Because you look at Ohio State's 2 losses last year against Oregon and Michigan late in the year.
Right.
They run for over 250 yards, and there's your ball game right there. They're really able to set the pace, set the tone, and that's really what put Ohio State on their heels, where C.J. Stroud had to throw for over 350, 375, 400 yards. It's just too much on his shoulders. You got to have a very balanced scheme and very balanced attack if you want to really contend and be a national championship frontrunner like I think Ohio State is right now.
And those are little things, but little things to be looking out for on Saturday at noon at the Shoe. It's the last time you'll be able to see Ohio State football until their first game in August in the stadium. So although it is a scrimmage, it's content, it's something to watch. So we know all you, the fans, will be there here watching us at Lantern TV, and we'll be there as well with the content for you on the website and on our YouTube page, and we'll have a post-game video, a reaction to the game out after it, just shortly after that on Saturday. For myself, Kevin, for Casey, and for Gabe, who will be with you for the rest of the year. These two will be holding it down for you for the remainder of it. We will see you after the game on Saturday. Take care.